For me, discipline is willpower and self-control. And I loved when you said, one of your quotes, you said, it is better to be prepared and not have opportunity than to have opportunity and not be prepared.
Hello,
Hi.
Mary.
Oh,
How are you?
fine. Good evening where you are. We are still in the afternoon here.
Here it's 9 p.m. late. Hello, Terry also is joining.
Hi, Sana.
Mm, Tana is here too. So tell me what's your opinion about what does discipline mean to you, and how do you see it, how it influences your life, and how it influences other people's life, and so on.
Even Zan the man is watching. The whole movement makers are in the house. For me, discipline is willpower and self-control. How I assert my willpower and how I can self-control and do the follow-up on my commitments.
That's very good. It's a very good description. I like it. And hello, everyone that is joining. Lots of movement makers here.
Yeah.
For me, also discipline is it's also commitment, as you said. Commitment is quite in my eyes here too. So many people. So it's very important part of our life, discipline. And as I already said a few times, that in my opinion, without discipline, you can't really create the habits that you need in order for you to create the life that you need. Because without the right habits, it's very hard to create the life that you want and need. And without discipline, it's very hard to actually create the habits, the good habits, because bad habits are easy to build and hard to live with. Good habits are hard to build and easy to live with. And this is why you need discipline, because it's hard to build good habits. But once you do them, then everything will be much, much better. Just, I got some call.
Oh, no, that's very true, and you are right. Yeah. Hi, Maya. We are growing together, and everyone in the chat. Discipline is something that we know. You know, I went to a boarding school in secondary school, and there discipline, you do things, everything is scheduled and you follow the schedule. And then we really, nobody would tell you what to do. You just already know automatically that at this time you have to be reading, at this time it's time for play, the next time it's time to go to class. Then when I was younger, it was much easier. But for me now, it's so difficult, especially like you are a wellness coach, which is a holistic approach to health and fitness. It's very good. I know I have that challenge like many other people. I get motivated to start a fitness journey, but I don't have the discipline to continue. I don't know, what are your thoughts about it?
So the good thing is that actually the problem is that most of us, we can't really. It's hard to build the discipline because we don't have the right tools. So it's much harder to build discipline when you don't see results, and also the habits. Because when you're doing something and you don't see results for a long time, and it costs you lots of effort, and the results are very minimal, then it's very hard for you to actually follow the things that it is. And as you said, in boarding school when you were younger, it was much easier because there you were kind of forced to do it in a way. And here you have the ability to not do it completely, and you can just keep it. So, and the problem is that there the discipline comes, because the problem is that when the more you skip it, the more you create a habit that is the bad habit, the habit of skipping it. So it's harder for you to break this habit and to go back to the discipline and the good habits. So I repeat habits a lot, but it's very easy to build the bad habits. So this is why the key to everything, to become successful in everything, is to, no matter how bad you screw it up, go back to it right away, as soon as possible. Doesn't matter if it's with your nutrition, with your exercise, with your career, with your, because, for example, think about it that way. If you work, so you probably work, you said that you work, so you make a mistake. And when you make this mistake, if you stop going to work, they will stop paying you.
That's
so even if you made a mistake, of course, if it's a very bad mistake, then very likely that they will fire you. But most cases, you will be able to go back to it the next day. And even if you made a mistake, you'll continue doing it and trying to fix this mistake and kind of do extra work to compensate for the mistake. Or in some cases, you don't need to do anything to actually keep up with the results that you. So the same is with everything else. So the key is to go back to it, because the more, if you go back to it right away, then it's kind of, you don't break the good habit. And the more you leave it, the more you postpone it, the harder it is to go back to it, because the easier, the more you build the habit, the bad habits of skipping. So we have some comments here. Let's see. Oh, it's going crazy.
Yes, I totally agree with Maya. Going back as soon as possible is key, because the longer you stay away from the good habits, the easier the bad habit comes back.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very important to go back to it. Can you hear me good, actually? I didn't check. Okay.
5.
Yes, good.
And one of the things that it's challenging for me is, if I'm committed to some other person, I do it. I'm still learning how to commit to myself and to keep my own commitments.
It's always harder. It's always this why we're willing to do much more for others than we are willing to do for ourselves. And but usually, how I explain, because I have lots of moms, for example, that they say, oh, I can't take care of my health or my fitness, because I need to give all my attention to my kids and I want to give them as much as I can. The problem there is that when you don't take care of your health and fitness, probably you won't be able to give them much, because even if you want to give them 100%, if you have only 50% in you, you can't give them 100%, you can give them only 50%. And by taking care of yourself, you bring back this 100%, and then you can give much more to your close people, family, friends, spouse, or whatever else you want to do. I got this insight from you. My eyes swing. So it's if you want, I can actually, we're talking anyway outside of this, so I can help you with your wellness and I can give you the tools, because
I need help. Please do.
Perfect. I will help you with that, because the thing is that when you have the right tools, then the results get much easier. You get results much faster and much easier, and you feel much better, and it's much more likely to continue doing it. Because imagine, I'll give the example again with the work, because almost everyone goes to work, and almost everyone have worked in some point of their life. So imagine if you go to work and for 5 months it's a very heavy work, very hard work, and for 5 months they don't pay you anything. It's very likely that you will stop working there. But if you start somewhere and they start paying you the first day and they pay you every single day, and your salary increases all the time, then it's very likely that you will continue working. So the same is with the health and fitness. And here Maya says, I have 4 kids as a single mom and I do exercise daily. Well done, Maya. That's awesome. And that's what the key is. Because the problem is that most people and most coaches, health coaches and stuff like that, and most fitness, everything, the information in the fitness world, it's very misleading. And most of the times the things that they preach are hard to follow, and they don't give you long lasting results. They may give you some short-term results, but first it requires lots of effort, and then the results are not really sustainable for the long term. And that's the thing. This is why it's very important what you do, because if you see results right away and it doesn't cost you crazy amount of effort, because of course if you're super restrictive with your diet, and even if you have the best discipline there, is because you're talking about discipline, even if you have the best discipline, it's still if it's too hard to follow, sooner or later you let it go. You will not be able to do it anymore. For me, that's what I've seen. If it's something that is too hard to follow, even if you manage to follow it for a very long time, the moment you drop it, then it will be much harder to go back to it, because in your mind is very hard thing. So it's very hard. You don't want to go back to the hard thing, and so on and so forth. So you need to make something that is easier to follow. Of course, it always requires effort, but the effort needs to pay off, and it's something that it's easier to follow, so you can sustain it in the long term.
You're absolutely correct. And I like the way because when you make an analogy to your work, it's easier for you to see how really related and how you can get the motivation to come back as soon as you drop out, or as soon as you lose some days. And I'll tell you a funny story about when rules are too strict, it's difficult to keep. I like telling stories. There's a story about some children in primary school. We call it primary school. So the teacher asked them to name breakable objects, and everybody was naming glass. Some people were naming all the fragile objects that that are breakable. And one little boy stood up and said, the 10 commandments, they are very breakable. And everybody was like, but really, they are, because they are strict, they are very breakable. So I just wanted to bring that comic interview.
It's a very good example, actually. I haven't thought of it, but it's very, very smart.
A little boy said the 10 commandments are very breakable because they are too strict. And I really like the work you're doing, because having a holistic approach to health is capital, because when you neglect one part, the other part is not sustainable. And sustainability is really, because when you are sustainable, you really see the results from your disciplined actions. So I was going through all your I really love your videos, and I love the way you approach it, not in the conventional way, too strict, when people can easily lose their momentum. And I loved when you said, one of your quotes, you said, it is better to be prepared and not have opportunity than to have opportunity and not be prepared. Do you think people have to be disciplined to stay ready, or is just a way of life? Is discipline a way of life? Is it possible?
For me, first, Rosie also here. Rosie will say here, say hello, movement makers. Hello, Rosie. I think that, and I completely agree with this, because with it's better not to have opportunity and be prepared than not be prepared and have the opportunity, because the problem most of the times is not that we lack opportunity, because most of the times, if we think about it, there are so many and there are so many opportunities that we have in our life that we missed, and also so many opportunities that we don't even have an idea that we had them, and we were just not ready for it. So most of the times we are not successful in something just because we are not ready for it. And this is why we need to make the effort, and we need to have the discipline to work on and reach a point where we are ready for it, and then we can get and kind of what's the code? I lost the word, but get the benefits from the whole thing. Because very often, like in business, it's the most common one that I see. We think that, oh, if I only had this, if I only had that, but most of the time, if we see the successful people, the most successful people, they didn't have these things. And if we think about it, I'm also guilty in this, that I was thinking that I need, if I only had more money, or if I only had this, or if I only knew, yes. And most of the cases, when I realized, actually, it took me a long time to realize it. And when I realized it, what I actually need, it all came back to how much effort I put in. So, and in the right direction. So, because it's a different busy work than actually being productive. And I'm going a bit away, but also, and for that, it requires discipline, because very often we need discipline because very often, for most good things, the results don't come right away. They don't come so super fast. Of course, diet and exercise is a bit different, but in most things in life, like for a relationship, let's say another thing, because business, maybe people will get bored of it, but let's say a relationship, when you want, it's not you go on a date and then you're like, oh, let's get married. It's usually you need to go on one date, then another date, you need to make some effort, then you don't know what will happen, you make more effort, you put more effort, and the other person is doing effort, and then eventually something happens and you come together. Then with the time, you continue working together in a way until you reach a point that you decide, you go to the next step that is better for you. And the same is with business. Most people, for example, with the business, most people, if you give them $1 million or $2 million or $5 million or whatever money they think they need, most of them will end up on the same position as they were before the money, because they're not prepared. So you need the discipline to build these things. And there was one very interesting movie. I remembered something. I don't remember the name of the movie, but I remember something very interesting, because there was this guy that there were all the time bad things happening to him. And that brings me to the opportunity and being prepared. And he went to the priest because he was praying. He was very religious, so he believed in God. So he went to the priest, and he said, "Look, like I'm praying to God every single day. I'm trying to be good and trying to do everything and stuff like that." And the priest told him a story. There was these two farmers that they have land next to each other, and it was a bad season, so there was no rain. So every day, these farmers, both of them, were praying to God. They were both religious, and both of them were praying to God. But only one of them received rain. And of course, the guy asks the priest, which one? Why did which one got the rain? And the priest said, the rain went to the person that have prepared his land for rain. So he was prepared, and then that also gives you the proof, kind of, that you really believe that this thing will happen, and then things happen. So I went a bit off track here, but I
like the examples that you give, because there are things that you can really see and you can learn quickly, because everything is in. So when you relate them to day-to-day life, it's easy for people to understand them and to see them, because discipline builds your business, discipline builds your health, discipline builds your skills up for growth, discipline opens the world for you. So everything is discipline. I like my coach will say, Zan, everything is a transaction, relationships, business, It's all a transaction, and you have to be prepared, and you have to have the right tools to be able to get the right results. I'm so grateful because I come from a culture where we don't write things down. It's an oral culture. So I'm learning how to write things down, to schedule things, which is something that we are not used to. I'm learning that what, like they say, what gets scheduled gets done. And so it's a good learning. I'm really grateful to belong to movement makers and to meet amazing people like you all, to learn. And because when you see everybody doing it, you also get motivation and you are disciplined. I'm telling you, we're not following me for the first video. I will not have any video today. But now I had the first video, I had the second video, I had the first live. Now I really am so at ease doing lives. I'm still learning, but I'm progressing. So how did you come about doing wellness coaching? Did you grow up like a sports person, or you just decided that it was a challenge for many people?
No, so first I want to say well done that you did the video and it's getting easier and easier. Today I was doing some videos for YouTube and I realized that I feel much better and I make much less mistakes than I was doing even the week before. So just practice, 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 practice. And uh, I'm here to support you and well done. And it's not easy to do live videos, especially, or even harder for me, especially. It's when it's with someone, it's easier, but when it's it's solo, it's a bit harder. But otherwise, I am actually IT by education and profession. I used to do IT for a long time. I have masters in computer engineering and telecommunications and stuff like that. But I've always been interested in health and in fitness. So first I started with fitness when I was very little, like very little. I was around 12. I was starting working out because I wanted to be cool and have muscles. And then, excuse me, with the time, I been to some struggles. I had some problems with some health issues. I had some injuries. I dealt with some not good doctors, like not that have no idea what they're doing, and I suffered a lot from it, and that made me being very interested in health in general. And the more I was, because I've always been interested in people, so I was seeing what are the things that make life good. I was searching for the things that make life good. And I was seeing that, and for myself and for others, that without having good health, it's much harder to do to have good life in any other area as well. So I start sharing my knowledge with people and start helping them. And I was very sick of working on as IT as well. So I just decided one day I left everything and I went to Australia. And there I started doing that full time. But before that, I was doing it here and there also. So more than 5 years, 5 something years, I'm doing it like full time. And before that was more part time. But I've always been like, since I was 12 years old, now I'm 31. So yeah, a lot of years. Tell me about you a bit. Tell me, how did you decide to go to coaching as well, and what's your journey?
But so, first of all, I want to say I'm really sorry for your health issue, but also I'm thankful because that is how you found your why, and that's why you're helping us today. So thank you for following your why and for staying committed and consistent. And you 30, I could easily just double it and then you will get near to where I am. But I spend a lot of time because I'm a two-time divorcee with no kids. And from where I come, marriage and having children is fundamental. when you don't, we are not married, it's difficult. When you don't have children, it's even more difficult. You are stigmatized, and there's a lot of stereotypes. So I had this problem growing in my middle life, and I really completely lost myself, and until I was really almost depressed. I didn't go to a therapist, but I was using music and a lot of gospels. So I used to go to YouTube just to listen to healing music. That's how I healed myself. And one of those days, one of the videos popped up, and there was a lady, Lisa Nichols, who was doing a presentation. I was in Spain then, and she was talking about you are your own rescue. Only you can rescue you. And I was like, wow. Instead of sitting here and blaming my everybody else, I have to take my responsibility and take back my life, and that you can reinvent your life no matter how old you are. And that was a big aha moment for me. So I started following her videos, because most of the time in Africa we go to YouTube just for music. But I discovered that there was more to in YouTube than only music. So I started following her videos, and that's how I found Evan, because Evan has done a lot of videos about her. And when I went to the first video that I saw about Evan was his signature tune. Everybody has Michael Jordan level talent at something. And that's where it occurred to me that, oh, even if I had failed like a wife or like a mother, I should find that thing that I have talent at. And that's how I started the self-development journey. And I decided that since I helped myself, I can now also help other people to reinvent themselves. And that's how I started in it. And that's how I came to Movement Makers.
That's very...
And then I bought his book, and then we were in Insiders. And finally, I saw that I needed Movement Makers, because I also need a community that would help me to grow. And here we are.
That's awesome story, and as they say, your mess becomes your message.
Exactly.
So it's a very good mission that you have, that you want to help others, and I think that's one of the YouTube is one of the best ways, because your content stays forever, so it can help people until YouTube exists. It's not like Instagram and all the other, like TikTok and Facebook, that everything disappear in a second. But it's very good. You're in the right place. I feel like myself, because for me also, it took me many years. I wanted to start doing videos many years ago, and there was always something stopping me. And until I joined Movement Makers, I didn't really start consistently doing videos. I made many, and I was posting them, and I was removing them, posting them, removing them, posting, removing. And so yeah, it's a journey, but as you said, and there are lots of people, I think there are lots of people that struggle with the same thing that you're struggling, because this vision, especially in Africa, and not only, even in more developed countries, it's still this stigma that you need to, if you don't have kids at some certain age, or you're not married or stuff like that, and then that you have some issues, and it can be very traumatizing. And people like you that have been through, because as Evan says, people will not listen to me about this topic. They want to hear you and they won't hear him, even if they won't go for Oprah or whatever, Tony Robbins or whoever it is. They want to hear from you. So we have an expression, there is a train for every passenger. So and also we have another one that was very interesting, what you mentioned earlier about that you need to save yourself. That's what you said, right? So we have an expression in my language that it says, whatever you do to yourself, no one else can do it to you. So, and it goes both ways. It goes in good ways, it goes in bad ways. So you can cause yourself such bad things, but also you can cause yourself such good things that no one else can do them for you. So, and it's good that you turned your let's say, like problems into something good, and like most of us that we're in movement makers. So it's a very cool thing to do. So we need to kind of finish here. So
I
uh,
for your time, because I know you had to sacrifice your sleep time for us to be able to do this live. I'm so grateful for your commitment and that you're disciplined to follow up on it. So it's really a pleasure. It's an honor for me to share these minutes with you. I know this is just a beginning of a lot of other things that we're going to share together, and I have a lot to learn from you. So I thank you very much. I'm really honored that you honored the invitation, and thank you so much, and we'll keep growing together.
I'm also very thankful for your time and for your desire to work with me. And if you want, say where people can find you, and also like with a few words, say what you're doing and where people can find you, and if you have something for them, so the people that are from my audience can see you.
I am a personal development coach, and I use a five-step process to help people reinvent themselves and improve their net worth. And the five principles of reset, which reset being an acronym for resilience, education, strategy, experience, and training. You can use them individually or you can use them collectively, but you can always reinvent your life no matter what has happened. You are not a failure because you failed at one thing. You can always serve in so many other things. You just need to find it inside you to see what you are good at, and then you have the tools to help you reinvent yourself. So you can find me on IG. My IG is Coach Merima. I'm still building my website, but if you DM me, I would respond to you. I have a YouTube channel too, which is growing. Yes,
Yes,
I coach there. Yes, reset and
yes.
become.
And I really like the reset, the abbreviator of your coaching system. It's very cool. So what's your YouTube channel again?
I have my YouTube channel is still a Coach Merima reset and become limitless and unstoppable.
Perfect, perfect. So I will put it in the description of the video. I will put your Instagram, and from there people can see where to follow you and so on. So thank you again, Mary. I'm very happy to have this conversation with you, and I'm looking forward for other collaborations as well.
The pleasure is shared. Thank you very much. Have a good night's rest, and we see.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.